we are fascinated with these pose. We are taking this from the ground level, and up we have this Australian flag. So this is just a fantastic spot to take fantastic photos and create memories. We are now inside the Great Hall, and look at the reflection. It's just fantastic. It's really great. It's like a mirror. Visiting Senate, House of Senates is very, very interesting, and that was a lovely introduction to the Parliament. I took a photo with Julia Gillard's portrait, and Oronima's favorite is Tony Abbott's portrait. So now we are inside the House of Representatives. As you can see, this is the greenhouse. So finally we have arrived at the Parliament at the Capitol Hill. Before we move on to the Capitol Hill, the actual new Federal Parliament, look at our background, that white building, that's the old Parliament, old Australian Parliament, Federal Parliament. So this is the Capitol Hill, and this is Australian Federal Parliament. We're going to visit this Parliament today, and we have a tour booked in Australian Federal Parliament around 11:30 this morning. That will be a free tour, as I was mentioning, but you have to pre-book. We booked that, so that's a tour called Heart of the House, and that's a free 25 minutes tour. And so we're going to look around inside Australian Federal Parliament. This Capitol Hill is Australia's Federal Parliament, and I always love this building because the architecture is quite unique, and obviously it's the modern one, and the original one, the old Parliament House, is the white building down the hill, and this is on top of a hill, and so it's called Capitol Hill. We have always seen this building so many times during the news, and especially the general election. Next year there will be another general election, but coming here physically, it just feels good. I mean, obviously this is a new thing for us. We haven't visited Canberra before, and visiting Parliament is one of the top things that you can do. Pre-book the free tours and do the 25 minutes tour. There are plenty, every hour there is a tour. So this is a fantastic way of visiting inside of the political kingdom. Finally, we're inside in the Capitol Hill, our Australian Parliament, Federal Parliament. And we're going to look around on that tour, Heart of the House. And it looks quite nice, first time in the Parliament. It's very modern and very beautiful architecture. There are architecture tours as well, but we're not going to do that this time. And it looks really nice, very modern. So this is called Great Hall. So this is the Great Hall of Federal Parliament. Let's see what's inside. This is the Great Hall. Look at the floor. It's just like a mirror. Complete reflection of the ceiling and the side walls, and that painting as well. What a beautiful side this is. It's really great. We are now inside the Great Hall, and look at the reflection. It's just fantastic. It's really great. It's like a mirror, and you can see the full reflection of the paintings and the side walls and the ceiling as well. So we have been given these badges, visitors badges, for the Heart of the House tour, and so we are just waiting at the main entrance, and we'll go upstairs to that one of those marble stairs and go upstairs and start the tour. Look at these stairs. Everything made with marble. Grand. Very modern looking architecture and building from outside, but the interior is very classic. There's a nice little Parliament shop as well, so you can buy souvenir and gifts items. There are tea towels of Senate, which is colored red, and then the House of Representative tea towels, which is green. So that's the color of the houses. Hey, do you want one of these mugs for you to buy? This is our Australian Prime Minister at the moment, Anthony Albanese, or we call him Albo. This one, this is the PM of the future. That's the toddler's t-shirt. Oh, definitely somebody's going to wear that who is going to be Prime Minister of Australia in future. Let's go upstairs and use these stairs. It's just awesome. Using these marble stairs is just awesome. Marble and granite made very nice. So now you can see the whole entrance area and it looks really nice, very nice, very nice architecture. Beautiful modern architecture all around. Let's go inside. This is Great Hall from the top. So we're watching the Great Wall from the downstairs and look at the reflection and the floor. The whole floor is like a mirror, a massive mirror, almost like ice skating rink. I was just reading through some of the history written on the wall, and look at this floor and this mosaic, the design representing 65,000 years of Aboriginal history of Australia. I can see some important dignitaries are going down the stairs that we came up. I don't know whether there is any MPs, but they look very important. You can just walk around these foyers and I don't see almost no security. I think maybe this is the courtyard where we see all those famous interviews with Parliament MPs and politicians. Look at these courtyards. We have 17 courtyards like these, allowing fresh light and air into the building. We are doing this tour and it's going on very nicely. Look at this beautiful reflective pool in the center, black reflective pool. See the Australian flag flapping very vigorously. Look at the Australian flag. We can see it from the central foyer, and what a wonderful sight this is. It's flapping very nicely. It's very windy outside at the moment. We're now entering the Senate House, Senate area. That will be quite nice experience. We can see the glimpse of Senate from this gap.
Being the House of Representatives. Sometimes people refer to an upper and a lower house, with this typically being what they would say is the upper house. That's kind of an anachronistic misnomer.
Visiting Senate, House of Senates is very interesting, and that was a lovely introduction to the Parliament. Visiting the Senate was just amazing, and look at these portraits. These are real portraits of the politicians and the Parliamentary and also the Prime Ministers of Australia. And so we'll walk along these corridor and show you all the portraits that are on display. Queen Elizabeth II. That's the portrait of Julia Gillard, Australia's first female Prime Minister. Tony Abbott, Australian ex-Prime Minister. Very nice portrait. I took a photo with Julia Gillard's portrait, and Oronima's favorite is Tony Abbott's portrait. I think it's reflecting the personality and the expression is just real, and this is probably the best portrait here among all of them. That's Kevin Rudd. Beautiful portrait. Extraordinary. That's John Howard. It's the portrait of Paul Keating. That Labour Prime Minister, ex-Labour Prime Minister Hawke. So this is a fantastic way of showing you the history of this building, all the people that were in power over the years. we're just fascinated with this tour and the interior of this federal parliament. We had the opportunity to go into the House of Senates, and where the senators sit, it's red colored, and the color red represent the aristocrats. Obviously there is a history, I'm not going to go in detail. That's very much Westminster system adapted from England, and the House of Commons is green. But we loved it because federal parliament, ideally it should be a lot of security and a lot of checks and balance, and you can't really roam around, but it's not the case here in Australia. It is so beautiful. You can go into any corridor, you can go into the House of Chambers, House of Commons and Senate, and look around, look at the portrait gallery I just visited, and it is amazing. It's an amazing thing to do in Parliament, and also amazing thing to do in Canberra if you are visiting. Definitely one of the top things to visit the federal parliament in Canberra. There are a lot more other portraits, and these are the MPs from the Aboriginal background. This is the portrait of Linda Burney, and she was, I think she recently left, but she was the Labour MP. From that main area where we saw the portraits of the ex-prime ministers, we came upstairs, just one level, and we have this foyer with these extraordinary oil paintings hanging on the wall, and that was just extraordinary. I mean, we are just loving every bit of it because you have the public access. You can just go around inside the parliament and look around, no restriction, which is amazing. It feels very nice, isn't it? So there is no security, no one is actually stopping you to go anywhere, and it's almost like a living museum, because this is the very important, highly secured building in Australia, and so yet people can go around and enjoy the inside, because ultimately Parliament is for the people of Australia. We're having a wonderful time inside this federal parliament. Fascinating. And we can go upstairs on the roof as well, so we'll go afterwards. There is a lift that will take you to upstairs and outside on the roof, where you can feel the wind and see the flag flapping, and yeah, it will be an amazing experience. This area is very nice because it's actually showing you and telling you the story of Australian flag, how it evolved over the years, and how the original design ultimately finalized. This is the 1953 Flag Act, and Queen Elizabeth II signing that act. Now we're walking to the House of Representatives, the Green Chamber, through that window, I think. So we'll just look around the House of Commons or House of Representatives. So we are in the section of House of Representatives, and this is how the house looks like. So this is the House of Representatives. So now we are inside the House of Representatives. As you can see, this is the greenhouse, and the color red represents the aristocrats, the higher of the society, and closer to the king or the queen, and the House of Representatives represents more of the common people, the people of Australia. It's very much Westminster system, and it is fascinating that you can just walk in any of these houses and chambers, and that is fascinating experience. So there are some viewing galleries as well. So one of them is here, we are just standing. On the other side there is some glass chambers, so those are soundproof. And look at this magnificent architecture, and so much natural lights are passing through these skylights onto the floor. It's just a wonderful architectural design. And on the tour we were learning that an Italian American won the competition to design this whole parliament building, which was built in 70s, and since 1988 this parliament is in operation. Those cameras are for the live telecast of what's happening inside the houses. We just took a lift from the downstairs and we just came up to the rooftop, and look at the beauty and the view of Canberra from the rooftop. Let me open this door and we are out. Ornament is telling me that be careful about your hat because it's very windy. Look at this flag. This is the Australian flag, flapping very nicely. It's not that windy, but we are getting like 360-degree view of Canberra. So now we are on the top of the Federal Parliament, and look at my background. This is the Mount Ainslie, and then that's where the ANZAC parade is, where we walked, and that war memorial is just there. So Parliament is almost like a straight line to the ANZAC parade and the war memorial, and in between we have the white building. That white building is our old Parliament House. Look at where we are now. We're on top of the Federal Parliament, and that Australian flag is flapping very nicely. We just took a very short ride on a very nice looking lift, and then within 10 seconds we're on top of the Parliament. From top of the Parliament we can see 360-degree view of Canberra, and it is just magnificent that you can come on top of Parliament, a federal parliament of a country like Australia, and there is obviously security, but it's been allowed and people can enjoy the whole Parliament building. We're on the Capitol Hill and it's becoming very windy, and look at the view. This is just magnificent. You can't really beat any of these. 180 degree view, exactly.
Yeah.
So we can see
most of Canberra, and it looks like all the roads are going like radially.
It's so planned. Obviously on the left hand side we have this Black Mountain and Telstra Tower, and then you can see Lake Barley Griffin, and it is so planned that we have this old Parliament House, and in the background, almost like a straight line, we have the ANZAC parade where we walked yesterday. The view of the Mount Ainslie and the ANZAC parade and the war memorial, Australian war memorial, is just fantastic. We're just having an amazing time in Canberra. Particularly, this is one of the highlights. If you are in Canberra, you need to come up and on top of the Capitol Hill, on top of the Federal Parliament, where you can get to see the 180-degree or maybe 360-degree view of Canberra. And in our background, as you can see, we have Mount Ainslie, and then we have the ANZAC parade up to the Australian War Memorial. It is just a fascinating, so planned city that it is a beautiful thing to do while you are in Canberra. The architecture is so unique. I mean, the Italian-American architect who designed this had to dug out a lot of soil from this top of this mountain to position and host this whole building. But then he decided that okay, the top of the building will be continuation of the grass, because then the building won't look like just a palace or a building sitting on a top of a mountain. Rather, the Parliament will be part of the nature or part of the mountain or the hill. So that was a fascinating, very unique vision that makes Federal Parliament so unique, the Capitol Hill so unique. Look at these chairs. These are so beautiful, very royal, isn't it? So there are 4 of them. So I thought I'll just seat one of them and end this video. What a wonderful journey we had through the Parliament House on Capitol Hill in Canberra. This was a full tour of the Parliament House. We could see the foyer, the modern architecture, and inside very classical granite and marble made stairs, the Great Hall, the Senate, and then the House of Representatives. And what a wonderful time we had. I hope you enjoyed this whole tour of Parliament. Thank you very much for watching our videos. Goodbye until the next video.